Greetings! So today I have for you a rather exciting tool review. The tool manufacturer Zeron Corp is actually a stone's throw away from me, so I decided to poke them and ask a little bit more about their tools, a little bit more about their products, and they graciously sent me some to try out. So I've been using these for my past commissions and projects, so I'm gonna kind of give you a little rundown of what I thought of them, and yes, I think they have a really nice range. It's a very small manufacturer, which is really cool, all sourced in the United States. They focus a lot on precision tools, so they do things like electronics, robotics, and jewelry making is also one of their main demographics to target. They also have these dispensing bottles, which I found kind of interesting because of the resin that I work with, which is very, very liquidy, and it might be very useful for my application, so I'm going to have to check that out later. They sent me an assortment of 8 tools, and I'm going to go over them. The very, very first thing I noticed when I picked these up is that these are really, really lightweight, and I asked what they were made out of, and they're made out of a high carbon steel as opposed to a stainless steel, which only means that there is more risk of rust, but unless you're like beading outside and leaving your tools out in the rain and stuff, there's really not that much of a risk. You can even use like certain oils that protect it from rust too if you're really, really worried about it, but they're really lightweight and that's really, really good for your wrists in the long run, at least I think, anyways. Another thing I noticed when I first took them out of the box, they are so soft. Like, it has almost a suede feeling to the grip as well, and it's really, really nice to touch, and I really enjoy it. And I've seen beads that have this kind of feeling to it, where they're like the rubber or plastic, but they have like a really, really soft, velvety touch to them. It's very, very nice. The closure I find very interesting as well, because with my little cheapy conventional pliers, the little springs that open and close the piece pop out repeatedly, and I have to stick them back in order to retain their functionality. These have an interesting little system that closes and opens the pliers very, very nicely. They do have a warranty for their products, and it's a limited warranty for the life of the product. Like, they call it a lifetime warranty, but it's life of the product, not your life, because, yeah. How they define that is basically if you're using it how it's supposed to be used and like things happen, like it chips or something, they'll replace it, no problem. Their customer service is very, very well responsive and very, very, very open to questions, so I will leave their email if you have any questions for them as well. You can't buy from them directly because they're strictly a wholesale manufacturer, but you can also email them to figure out where the nearest location is for you to purchase them. So the first tool I would like to talk about is the Maxi shear cutter, and this is good for a maximum capacity of 12 AWG, and I will have to look up the difference between AWG versus SWG, but they give a metric conversion of 2 millimeters on the box, and they are very, very lightweight. And another testament to the comfort of these things, I had just finished a commission of several chainmail bags using chainmail dice bags with a 16 gauge aluminum, and my hands were freaking killing me, but I still had other commissions to do after that. I mean, like, I've got certain like pressure points calloused up where my where the pliers rest on the on my hands, and they were just sore and painful. But I had other commissions to do, and I wanted to test out these pliers some more, so I started doing another project with them, and they didn't hurt at all. They were really comfortable to use, and I was just very surprised by that. So the Maxi shears, they're basically a heavier duty cutter for heavier gauge wires, and they work pretty well. I thought the head was a little large, but I can actually get in pretty nicely into tight corners. This is meant for like softer metals like silver, copper, or aluminum, things like that. Not for hard wires like steel or memory wire, which I think is the same thing. Which, on that note, they did send me some hard wire cutters to try out. These are for your steels and your heavier gauges and things that you generally don't want to bust your other pliers for. Continuing on with cutters, they sent me the micro shears with the wire retainer, which is fantastic. I love this one. so much because I have nearly had some very close calls with some flying wire. This one also uses the micro shear technology, which is their patented trademark. It's a type of cutting that they use to make a nicer cut in the wire and to make less tension on the tool itself. And these ones I found really great too, because I initially thought these were really bulky, but I can actually definitely get into really tight corners and some really, well, flush into the cuts that I need for wrapped loops and stuff like that. And how they work is there's basically a little metal clip that is above the actual cutters themselves that holds onto the wire, and it doesn't let go until you let go of the pliers themselves or release pressure, which is really, really great. They also have demos on their YouTube channel, which I'll link down below as well, and probably in the corner in a card somewhere, so you guys can check out their website and check out what their demonstrations are like. And I like these. I like these a lot. These are pretty cool. Definitely a staple for jewelry makers who work with a lot of wire, or even jewelry makers that don't work with a lot of wire, because yes. Then there's this magical, wonderful thing. This is the 4-in-1 crimper with chain nose pliers. What I love about this is that you can crimp 3 different size crimp beads with these things. I am so sick of my old ones where I have like, you have to have like 3 of them, and you use them sparingly, but you still have to have them. Now I can get rid of them because, oh my, I love this one. It's got a chain nose plier at the front, and it's a very narrow-nosed chain nose plier. And I can show you how to do the crimping of this one. You have one tooth that does the actual crimping, and you can put whatever size bead on it, and then you have 3 more stations for the size of beads that you're going to use. And frankly, I don't use any more than like 2 or 3 millimeters if I want really, really wide crimps. But yes, these are awesome. They work so nicely, and since they're so small, you can really, really get in between your beads, so you don't have a lot of gaps in between the clasp and the and your piece. So these are great. They also sent me some smooth draw pliers. These are the tweezer nose, model number 450. And these have a very, 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 very tiny nose. These are good for micro mail and really softer metals, like probably silver. I personally did have a little uneasiness when it came to manipulating 20 gauge wire. And it was copper, I believe is what I used, but the nose did bend a little bit more for my comfort, so I'm probably going to save these for like really tiny micro mail rings. Like I've made a European 6-in-1 ring for my hand, not jump ring, but ring for my hand. And these would have been very, very useful for that. I did it with my regular size ones, and that was not a fun time at all. In addition, they sent me some regular long nose pliers, and I like these. These ones will probably definitely replace my beadsmith ones. So these ones are a lot better for holding heavier gauge wires, like 18-20 gauge. And the nose is very durable with this one, so I don't feel uncomfortable using these and being a little rough with them. Speaking of a little rough, these are their round nose pliers. I'm kind of conflicted about this one. This one requires a little bit of a learning curve. I am fascinated with this one because the nose of these are so tiny towards the beginning, and my smallest pliers are even not as small as this one. However, you really have to be careful with how much pressure you put on these, because it squishes your wire like a hydraulic press, which I'll kind of show you in this image. Yeah, so I have to train my hands not to hold it so tight and to let the wire do its work for me. Which, again, is good for long-term use and, you know, protecting your wrists and ergonomics and all that fun stuff that we don't want to talk about. But I've also had to basically relearn my rhythm and how I make loops in the first place, and I've actually found myself having to go to the chain nose pliers before I want to, which is a learning curve thing again. One complaint that I do have is I wish that the long nose pliers and the round nose pliers were much easier to distinguish, because I've had instances where the noses look really similar, either from a distance of your desk or just in general if you're more focused on your work, because I've accidentally picked up the round nose pliers and not the chain nose pliers and broke my whatever I was working on accidentally because I was holding it tightly and thinking that it was the chain nose pliers, but I end up squishing my wire instead, so having to redo the links is kind of frustrating. So I kind of wish the grips or something was a different color or something, because yes, they're very similar looking side by side. And the final thing they sent me was the Model 441, the thread and cord scissors. I want a little bit more time with this because I'm not too sure about these yet. They are rated for Fireline, but I do still have, after like one project, I'm still having a bit of an issue. Like initially, the tips were very clean cuts and very nice. But after like using it for one project, I find that I'm having a bit of trouble with it, and it's kind of fraying a little bit. But the way they cut, they overshoot, so they make a very cleaner cut to these, and the edges are serrated as well. So, but I'm still finding that they'll make clean cuts from time to time, but other times I'll have trouble and it'll cut on something. So I have to like figure out if there's a learning curve on these. But yes, those are all the models that Zeron had sent me. Overall, I really like these. They're really nice. They're really comfortable, and I can definitely feel that there's less of an impact on my wrists. And the price point from what I've shopped on their other suppliers, that they are a very competitive price point, and which is great, especially for the quality of the products. I can tell that these are really going to last a long time, and they do a lot of precision work. So you got to keep in mind that don't be too heavy with things, because that doesn't get you very far. But anyways, I'd like to thank the Zeron Corp for sending these out to me. I had a really great time with them, and I definitely want to get some other products in the future, and I have to get them in duplicate because my significant other likes them a lot too, and he will probably be borrowing mine and not giving them back. But yes, I will leave the email to the sales department of Zeron, so you guys, if you had any questions about things or details, they are very nice, very receptive, so like expect an answer relatively quickly, and I'm really surprised. They really care about their customer base. They really care about standing behind the quality of their products, so I highly recommend these. I think, as far as I know, they're in local bead shops as well, but again, contact them, and they'll let you know where is the closest spot for you personally to find them. But yes, check them out. Have you guys checked out Zerons? I know I got a couple people who are very excited about their Zerons. So I want to know your impressions. Let me know if there's any things that I need to buy. And yeah, I think that'll do it from me. Let me know if there's any other reviews or tutorials. Thanks again to Zeron Corp for sending me these samples. I really enjoyed trying them out. And of course, if there's anything I need to be trying out right now, feel free to leave me a comment down below, and I will see you next time.